Hi, everyone. Thank you, so many of you, for coming today. It's great today to be with Abhishek from Tata Communication. Thank you so much for coming, Abhishek. It's a pleasure to have you. And today, we're going to talk really about the future of remote production for sports. And you're the best person to talk to about remote production, right?
I guess so. And thank you for having me, fabulous Florian.
Thank you. So, what's the future of remote production? I think first we should talk about what you guys do at Tata Communication, right? So, like, should we play a reel first, and we can even talk over it, and you can explain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
So let's go for it. On the screen on your side, let's go.
Tata Communications is obviously a global telecommunications provider, but I am from Tata Communications Media. This is like a bespoke, dedicated business unit of Tata Communications focused on media companies, sports, and broadcasters. We provide obviously transmission services of video, and we do this through our own fiber network, and we also do through public internet, but most importantly, we have also invested in production. We are now in content origination. We have built our first remote production facility in LA, locally here, not too far away from here. And basically, it's a large 70,000 square feet facility that basically is capable of producing live sports to cooking shows, live, non live, anything that you've got. We also use it as our playout facility. We have built a lot of cloud infrastructure after the COVID pandemic, and this includes 38 edge nodes that reliably run video in the cloud and are able to originate content, both playout and production.
And which is interesting as well here to see is that it's really a global network, right? So you cover the whole world basically.
Absolutely. And this is the gift that Tata Communications has given us to the media business. We keep on expanding this network. We spend a lot of capex and opex every year augmenting network. You can see that we have like several home markets in terms of reach and capability. We have got a US domestic network. We acquired the Switch. We have got an Asian network. We have got obviously a network in India. We have got latest acquisitions coming up in Latin America. So the network is everywhere, and we have vast amounts of infrastructure presence everywhere in the globe. And what this particular slide shows is also what we have done after COVID. We have built out all these cloud edge nodes just to enable cloud production and reliably ingest video into the cloud at low latency, and making sure that the network and the Kubernetes cloud infrastructure work in tandem and are able to run very latency sensitive things like replays in the cloud, and replays without the T-bar and the jog dial issues that typically producers directors have in a remote gallery.
And it's amazing to be globally connected, to connect all the countries together, which is even better is what you do with it, right? Like how you implement it in production.
Yeah, so I think this is an amazing story. Years ago, we started with fiber, and fiber was the go-to method for doing anything remote because of latencies and assurance of service that it offered. But what we have done is we have invested, Florian, into a lot of basically time, effort, engineering talent, and also money to make sure that what we can do through fiber on a deterministic basis can also be done on public internet. And this is done with the magic of our own backbone network, which is immense and vast, which it's a tier 1 AS network. But we have also used our peering agreements. So we can route video traffic deterministically through downstream peers. And that is a game changer because then you've got complete control over latencies and also things like jitter, for example, that affect video. And when you talk about doing remote camera control, for example, today we have the ability to work with Mo-Sys and companies like yourselves to make sure that there is a low latency network present behind such camera systems that can reliably work on public internet. I think that is something that we have done, and we are kind of proud of that as well.
Absolutely. And let's take an example for the audience. I think you have some example of Formula E. So it's quite a strong use case on this one. And maybe you want to talk a bit about it on how Tata Communication was involved in Formula E and what you guys achieved. That is so impressive.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. Again, I think this is a clear segue into what I was saying, that we can make video transmissions reliably and deterministically through public cloud and internet. So for Formula E, we today have replaced all fiber systems, and they basically mean that we can pass live video, 2 gigabits of it, about 90 streams, going from anywhere in the world, about 14 locations from Chile to Japan to Indonesia, back to a remote gallery in the UK with a predictable latency. Typically, the latency is about 250 milliseconds to public internet, and we can also do data transmissions. So this is a combination of hybrid cloud infrastructure where we actually put cloud infrastructure Kubernetes stacks also on site that work in tandem with the edge that you just flashed here on the screen. So that make sure that we have complete control and predictability. We can also even determine the route that video feeds take over the public internet, have a full monitoring stack, and have ability to change peering and routes over public internet. I think that is something that is a game-changing solution on this. But the impact on Formula is profound. Like they can run remote camera systems like Mo-Sys, for example. They can remotely control cameras if they have to. 50% reduction in the amount of equipment carried at every location. Imagine 14 locations around the world carrying tons and tons of freight, reduced by 50%. Also, the footprint of people has gone down by 50%. So it contributes a lot to the environment. And it's just a very nice way of having a remote production and a remote operation.
Yes, and it's very impressive what you achieved on the remote production side of things with Formula E. Especially, we know that it's a very everything matters in terms of equipment, in terms of shipping and everything in Formula E. And we'll talk a bit about what remote production brings in terms of advantages and what is its future just after that. First, we can talk a bit about now we can dig down a bit in technology a little bit. We go if you want to talk about it in more details, and we'll talk about different technology after, and then what do we see as the future. But if you want to talk about maybe
Sure.
distribution.
So this shows our edge network, and this is how the Formula E solution is implemented. We have like an instance of our Kubernetes cloud present on site, and then it works, as I said, in tandem with our local in-country edge nodes. So the traffic basically we have the capability of spinning up everything virtually in the Formula E environment, including from network switches to firewalls, and also edge, like all the streaming applications and so on and so forth. We what we can do is deterministically ingest that into our video cloud, send it back again with a latency of 250 milliseconds to a remote production center. And the beauty of this is that we have implemented a -7 workflow. So it is a hitless workflow over public internet. And I think that's the beauty of the solution. The rest of the points I think I've already covered. So yeah, thank you.
This is really impressive, and it's good because now we have use cases with our robotics that shows how we can leverage what you've built, so the infrastructure you've built and the technology you've built, and how they are complementary. Actually, I'll show some example for the audience. That's the Players Championship. Both Tata Communication and Mo-Sys are part of this major event, golf event. I wanted to take this example that we discussed it a bit because it's quite an interesting one. It's with our U50 head. So basically, it's the one we created for box lens camera control. And there used to be someone on the island probably more than 12 hours a day. So now the camera operator is really happy to be able to control the robotics over fiber, but at the moment it's on the OB van with the OB van. But in the future, we can think about having the camera operator even more remote, right, with this type of system.
Absolutely. I think, and that too in the public cloud, basically having just a set of internet connections manning the camera around the world. So this has a use case. So to take a step back, Tata Communications has invested systematically in all sections of the remote production workflow to make sure that everything from camera ingestion to camera control to remote operations to actually producing, mixing, and replaying content in the cloud and distributing it back. I think we can all do it with a low latency in the public cloud remotely. So this particular application is very, very interesting because you can actually save a lot of, I think this is first of all health and safety from my perspective. Anywhere where the cameraman can't reach, especially if it's a high speed motorsport track and somebody standing on a bend, a cameraman, they are always at a high risk. There are several such instances where a remotely operated camera system can replace this. Plus, the low latency helps because if you want to swing the camera quickly and focus on the car while it moves through a bend, then this the whole network and the remote camera system by Mo-Sys actually works in reality. This is what I've seen personally. So this is a very exciting space. This can actually solve real world problems for all the sporting federations that want to do this. And in this case, this is like a remote island in the golf course, isn't it? Where
Yes.
you had to take a boat to reach to get actually this camera angle.
Absolutely. Actually, we have some footage of that. There you go. So that's the islands, and then we see the boat. I think no, we'll see it after. But exactly like you said, like you have to take a boat, very heavy equipment, as we can see as well. And it was really interesting what you said. It's all about in broadcast the reactivity and how quick you're able to frame the action for the camera operator to have the best storytelling possible, right? So that's why combining both technologies is really making the difference in terms of storytelling.
That is unless you want to take a swim. Yeah, yeah.
I think Jack Nicholson
That's
took a
you
swim.
waving. I think definitely you went for a dip, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So here we see the system. That's our biggest system, of course, but we have a much smaller and compact system. Depends. It just depends on which camera package you have, which shot you have, and how you want to use it, right?
Yeah, and one of the things I want to touch upon, especially, I think the from a workforce perspective, from a talent perspective, this is really good solution because this allows talent to probably commute to a predictable place that they are used to in their towns and cities where the galleries are, rather than traveling 24/7. And I have seen personally that the gender diversity ratios have increased. Or I mean, fathers on paternity leaves, and fathers with young children, single parents, women with young children are all able to be in the workforce, and we can use full talent in the industry. I think that's an amazing benefit of this. Yes, I mean, people do remote production for costs, but I think these benefits, a smoother operation, having a better talented workforce, a motivated workforce, are intangible but very important benefits.
Absolutely, and it's great to see that it's a technology applied to production, but to solve broader issues, even societal issues, right? And actually, I have one more. Oh no, I have two more. Great. So that's we explain a bit more like the system. So as you can see, we have very precise control. The camera operator does not have to be on the island. There were many reasons why he didn't want to be on it. Some of them I won't talk about it here publicly. We can also use it for football, right? That was used on a football match here, and now the camera operator because it's really high, really high. So it's really dangerous to be there for him. So it could be then downstairs. So that's another aspect of remote production. But again, it could be downstairs in another country, right, or in another state.
Downstairs, absolutely in another country and in another gallery. And for smaller operations, somebody can be in a smaller setup or office or a home. Somebody can basically redo a meeting room and still have a full camera control. And they can just commute to the office and do the camera control with the power of networks and your technology. Yeah.
And in terms of talents as well, especially for these sports, for golf, for football, you have very talented camera operators, but also their their expertise is really specific, right? So being able to tap into a talent that is not necessarily able to travel to the location makes a big difference as well, right?
Makes a huge difference. I think at the end of the day, the people who produce the TV show are people. They have their own lives. I think it's very important to harmonize and balance our professional and personal lives. And this allows the people to work, and us for companies like us, and also broadcasters and also sports organizations. They allow them to basically harness more and more important talent and keep harnessing over the years. It's a fantastic balance, and this is a balance that can continue for a long time.
And we look forward to it. And actually, the last one is here another type of control. That's again the golf, but we see that it's very different type. Here is with the joystick, for example. So that's also interesting to see. We have difference to controls the robotics, and every camera operators are used to their way of working, right? So you don't want to disrupt that. You just want to embrace the way they are. They have the most expertise in the way they're controlling the camera, whether it's pan bar, whether it's even hand wheels more for film, but joystick for broadcast. You want to be able to bring what they are the best at remotely, right? So, and again,
Absolutely.
accuracy with the fiber is important.
Absolutely, and I think there are immense possibilities with this. I think you can produce a very good TV show, to be honest. But I also want to say that look, I mean, there is horses for courses. I personally believe that remote camera operations, has a place in every production, but it has to be used depending on what scale of production you have got, where you are. how much you're traveling, how much basically how global is the sport. I think there are factors. This may not be applicable to all, but I certainly believe that there are at least a few applications in every sport to make sure that this works, and this absolutely works from a production standpoint.
It's interesting as well because sometimes it feels like there are two different types of remote production. One is, as you said, more for the very premium use cases where we will use it to enhance the storytelling, to have a different, more creative shots. But it feels like there is a other type of remote production, which is production that, in the first place, we don't have a coverage. And suddenly, thanks to everything that remote production brings, as in a way, reducing the freight, reducing the flights and the equipment, suddenly you can actually cover an event you couldn't even cover before because you wouldn't have the possibility in terms of budget, in terms of infrastructure and equipment, right?
Absolutely. If you are going all over the world and if you have events happening all over the world, second, higher number of events, even if you are in certain section of the world, like certain geographical cross section of the world, if you are doing like 300 games per annum, or if you're doing 800 games per annum, I think this definitely has a place. The cameramen especially also need a work-life balance, and they can be in a certain place and still produce a fantastic show. I think that's the use case for this.
Nice. It's great to hear that we can bring work-life balance in broadcast. That's what we're all aiming for.
Yeah, and with the low latency networks, this wasn't feasible through internet about 3 years ago, but it definitely is. And internet is everywhere; it's accessible. So this stack is very implementable, I think, and also accessible to the market.
I mean, for us, it's an enabler of remote production, really. Like,
Absolutely,
so it's great to
engineered internet from Tata and Mo-Sys will do the job.
and more to come. One last, the Formula E, again, a project where you mentioned how it was implemented, and that's how we used our technology. If the video wants to play, yes. That's how we use our technology on Formula E. That was very dangerous. There used to be a camera operator here on that spot. It was very dangerous for the camera operator. So now we can replace with a robot, and that can be done remotely. But also, right now, again, it's remotely on location, but that could be remote in another state.
And I believe that the quality of production also goes up because you are able to place camera slightly closer to the racetrack.
Yes.
So you get fantastic shots. The cameraman physically can't go absolutely near the track. Like sometimes you have the cement barriers, sometimes you've got rubber barriers. But you can actually place a remote camera quite close to the track. Obviously, you have to look at the cars and making sure that the cars are not jeopardized and the drivers are okay. But this can get some fantastic shots and angles.
Closer to the action.
Very
That's where
close
we
to the
want.
action.
And
Up close and personal.
and then with what's coming, I mean, we now talk about the future, but even with remote production, everything we can add is AR graphics because it's all about storytelling, right? It's all about getting the attention of the audience, and we know that with younger and younger audience coming, the attention, captivate the attention is always something we aiming for, and we create some more ways to have a much more storytelling that captivates attention. With AR graphics, it's even better because suddenly you have indication. Let's say with golf, we have the golf ball being traced in real time. With a boat race, for example, we can have the graphics of the speed, of the trajectory, of all that, and it's also, I think, making it more accessible for the audience to understand a sport they will not necessarily be expert at, but suddenly with all these indications, they can understand better. I think the sports as well with AR graphics. So that's something we also can provide together because we know where the camera is, but we can get the data very quickly and accurately.
Absolutely, and it enhances the quality of it enhances the viewing experience at the end of the day. Any graphics, anything that produces an engaging sporting experience for the fan is a welcome addition. And I think future of remote production is actually remote operations. So it's so you don't need to backhaul all the camera signals back, but you can have something like a Mo-Sys system working as a camera's operation system, and then you can have all the content processing happening on the edge itself at the venue, and then that is remotely controlled. So I think the future of remote production is like a hybrid between production and operations. This is what I personally believe.
And we look forward to deliver it together.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having
Thank you,
me.
Abhishek. Thank you so much for coming. It's so exciting, and we look forward to have so many projects using this technology. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.